Okay, here's another one. Have you hinted, or you have hinted, that John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. is still alive? Did he die in the plane crash 20 years ago, or did he stage his own death with the help of Donald Trump?
I don't think Donald had anything to do with it, but yes, he's still alive. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to mess that up for the guy. There's
Okay.
the reason for a lot of the things that people are experiencing or becoming aware of will become self-evident in the very near future. Okay?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, back in the day, I'm proud to say we was wild, wild, wild. We was ripping it up in style. We were fast and free, weren't we? Wild, wild, wild.
Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host Gail of Gaia with her guest Drake Bailey.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, and we're here with Drake Bailey. Hi, Drake.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see a puppy dog go across your screen with its tail in the air.
I know they are in the other room. You won't be able to hear them, but it's like a crying baby. I'm afraid.
Funning with you.
Otherwise, I'd have to lock them in the bathroom, which is a very small space. And
well, if everybody thinks it's interesting to figure out what time it is, they ought to check out ET Time. That'll definitely roast your brain. Well, the whole parameter and ideas and whatnot of time change from our limited 3D existence to the 4D and up. By change, I mean literally change. But there's some interesting things going on. I don't know if anybody's heard about the impeachment.
Well, let's cover what you know, and because it's always interesting. And the impeachment is a joke. I saw someone wanting to impeach Nancy Pelosi.
No, I think she ought to be shot, but that's just my opinion. And don't anybody go out there and shoot her. The interesting thing about the impeachment is pretty much multifaceted. There's a whole bunch of horse hockey going on from the bad guys trying to get rid of Trump. Well, it's very simple. If the left, and that's Democrats and their handlers and all the bad guys that want to destroy our country and get rid of the president, want a dose of reality? Here it comes. Very simply, nothing on a legal basis has any validity in terms of the impeachment. That includes, the warrants, and that includes FISA court, okay, or anybody else. That includes the impossibility of having a legal basis for subpoenas. And it doesn't matter what the subject is. That's for people, documents, whatever. Very simply, you cannot exercise legalities without sharing those legalities with the other side, meaning the person to be impeached. And consequently, until such time as somebody explains the law to people like Pelosi and Schiff and a few other numbnuts, they're going to continue to try. Now, they're being told right now, well, actually, it started yesterday, I believe, issuing a subpoena for somebody to testify, bogus. If I remember correctly, the ambassadors was told, no, you don't get to testify. And the reason for this is very simple. In order to make the thing into a legal action, they have to take a vote in the House, period. There's no wiggle room or anything in terms of the constitutional precedents, the laws, etc., that allow that without the vote. So the reason they haven't had a vote is they're trying to keep Trump and his administration and anybody involved in this fun and game farce. They're trying to take their legal precedents away from them, as well as their rights, etc. So until they run up against a sledgehammer like me, they're going to continue to screw around. When that stops, Trump's already said, take a vote. Go ahead, I dare you. The reason they won't take a vote is because the main thing is they really are concerned about their capability to get a vote where they win. In other words, where impeachment is approved by enough people in the House. Okay, that's
grounds for any kind of impeachment anyway. From
well,
what I understand.
I understand now. Here's the other part. The reason that they don't want any of this is because the vote would give Trump the legal right to the same legal level as the impeachment people, and that's Pelosi and Schiff and a bunch of them. They don't want them to have the right to subpoena witnesses and take their testimony. They are afraid, they are scared to death that people are going to find out the truth. Well, the problem is the truth's out there.
Exactly.
And it's been validated. First of all, there's a transcript that's fairly accurate. Secondly, the, I don't know what you call it, president, premier of the Ukraine said, what kind of horse hockey you guys playing here? None of that happened. So you have a situation where anything goes by any means necessary. We don't care what the cost is. We're going after Trump. Well, I don't particularly like Trump in a lot of ways, but he gets the job done. And that's basically what everybody that I'm familiar with is looking at. They're not looking to play any games with idiots that don't know the law and don't have any kind of legal reference on which to base what they're doing. They are violating, now this is fun, they are violating laws. And as such, in terms of what they're trying to do, they're making themselves extraordinarily easily liable. Now, everybody's heard of frivolous lawsuits. You kick it up to this level, and it gets really serious.
Yeah, I bet.
Minimum is 2 to 5. That's minimum, and it's an absolute sentence. If it's really funky, or somebody is really perpetrating something, 10 to 25. And the fines, you talk about ruining somebody. The Clintons have a foundation that's got billions in it, and they could just snatch all of that if they would. And that's just what's going on right now. Okay. Second part of this is that a lot of the people involved with freedom have stipulated that they are willing to go to war. Second Civil War I've been talking about. Well, hey, if you won't quit and you won't do nothing, we're going to come down and collect your butt and stick you in a cooler and find somebody who will do something. Very simple. It's not complicated, okay? And we, the people, have done this before. Would not be the first time. I
didn't understand exactly what you meant, because actually I get that. It makes a lot of sense. And
after I advised some people that there are about half a dozen, give or take, militia groups ready to go. And by that, I mean, they're ready to start. They're ready to throw hand grenades and shoot people. I've been keeping a lid on some of this simply because it ain't time. I keep trying to explain to them, it's not time yet. Things have not been set up correctly in order for that to happen. Then Trump comes out and says, I could call the militias and have militia with one tweet and have all the support I need.
That's right.
Now, recently, they put together a special order that allows the Marine Corps or United States military to effectively become a part of the police force, be that on a state level. Now, I'm going to tell you that a local, in a small town or county can't do it. Has to be state requested by state police. Okay.
Ah, okay.
So you got a lot of things that have never come up or happened before that are now happening, and people don't understand how severe the recompense, the recourse is in terms of frivolity, in terms of legal actions that are totally bogus, especially when they know they're bogus. Hold on a second. I'll make sure I don't get interrupted. I'll unplug my phone. Makes it hard for people to call in and make it go ring a ding ding in the middle of the show. So
Same thing. I had mine turned way down, but sometimes it can ring anyway. So I'll just shut it off totally.
well, guess what? Documentation has come out, and this is some. I'd call it nasty. If I was a Democrat, I would be running for a bunker. I would try to find me a trash can to hide in, or a big rock to go, a cave, something. The reason being is that they have documentation now that shows that Schiff and others not only knew about this a long time ago in terms of the phone call, before it happened, we're going to be able to gig him. Schiff helped write the whistleblower complaint. Now, how tainted does that make her? Okay, nobody is giving this any credibility, but these dummies that are pushing it keep pushing it. The problem with that is that they're going to let go of the apple cart and let them and the apple cart go over the cliff.
Right, I'm going.
Bye bye.
Yeah, really.
What we're looking at is something that is pretty insidious, because they're not just after Trump. Some of the stuff they've started goes to the office of the president, which, and you'll love this,
Oh, wow.
the full force of the military is required to defend the office of the president.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, domestic or foreign enemies. We have some real domestic enemies right now. And that's that. I read that they were being mobilized.
To leave, I guess she's getting divorced or something. Anyway, she has been running over to some radical Muslim groups and providing them aid and comfort.
Who was doing that?
To lead. You know, the girl that's got the turban on her head, like some kind of camel jockey or something. Well, by the way, there are actually there's three kinds of turbans. One, and this is the primary one, is it wraps around, but it's only worn by people who are actually riding a camel. Number two, you have from that riding a camel one, you have one that is considered dress. It's only worn at official functions, or you're going to go see the chief of a tribe or a group or whatever, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The third one, and you'll see this, and I really am amazed that these people don't abide by their own laws and rules. The third one is the big white puffy one that you see on guys' heads. That is a no-no. The only person allowed to wear that is somebody like, say, the Ayatollah. So, these people are violating all their own stuff, screwing things up real bad. And I got kicked off of Facebook for stipulating that Tlaib was a rag-headed camel jockey.
You're making a truthful statement.
Now, well, here's the other part. Judicial Watch has made a formal complaint to the ethics committee about Tlaib. So the fun and games, I told people that they were going to start removing people from office. She's just one example. Then you got the humongous and all-powerful ETs, the ones that play tag with our military fighter jets and whatnot. Well, the thing about ET is that they are finally ready. They're not going to interfere or intervene directly as of yet. What's going to happen is we clean our nest up. We start the process of cleaning house, draining the swamp, however you want to look at that. And I mean a real process where you start getting rid of some of these windbags that aren't doing anything. And ET is going to take they're going to sit up and go, cool. All right. So far, the Democrats have been in office about 3 years, 2.5 years, give or take. And the only thing they've been doing is got to get Trump.
Yeah.
You know,
Once he got in, that's all it's been.
well, even a lot of the leading Democratic supporters are calling for them to do something else. Leave Trump. Forget about Trump. You want to unless you want to bring it to a head. And like I said, Pelosi doesn't have the I don't know what you call it, courage to have the vote. So until such time as she grows a pair, we get to put up with all kinds of horse hockey. Now, here's the other thing: Barr and Giuliani are going after these guys on a one-to-one piecemeal basis, and they're not cutting them no slack. So they're in legal trouble on several different levels. And like I stipulated, you have to understand that the idea that you can subpoena things without a legal basis does not fly. It's constitutional law. And until they do, or until they say that the so-called, and I quote this loosely, official inquiry is rescinded or taken back or stopped, it just builds legal evidence for people to knock them out one by one.
They're not following their own rules.
Well, it's not their rules. It's constitutional law. You don't want to take a vote on impeachment. You do not issue false claims of, oh, we're gonna subpoena you and your records, and the people that were supposed to take the brunt of that all said, really? You got to have a legal basis first, you dummy. You ain't got no standing. I just tell them to screw off. So you got all that going on here. Then you have the fun and games. Apparently, Turkey decided to invade a portion of Syria. That's going to get serious, or could. Let's see here. You have the Iranian fun and games. You have Trump withdrawing troops. He pulled them out of an area. All of a sudden, Turkey's going to jump on them. Trump already told them, don't do that. They have no bloodbaths or wipeouts or anything of that nature.
I read that he was going to have the troops come out of the Middle East as much as possible.
Well, only if they manage their own affairs to the point where they don't need people like the United States or Russia or somebody to intervene. That's when that, takes place.
There aren't any weapons of mass destruction there.
That's India and Pakistan. They're the only two nuclear armed states that have much of anything to hit anybody with. I'm not saying Turkey don't have them. I'm saying that Turkey won't use them. All right. And that's the next part of this. Iran seems to think they can play games, and they can't. But we withdraw our troops, and Iran's going to jump on the possibility. Hey, ISIS. Hey, come on. We got a job for you, and it's open season, man. You can just do anything you want. Not quite. And so
who's funding ISIS, though?
What?
Who's funding ISIS?
Iran. Iran's got plenty of gold, and gold is a recognized currency globally. Very simple. Okay. So anyway, what then you have the other problem: India and Pakistan. Those two are nuclear armed, and they're pissed at each other. They're getting ready to have a conventional, and they were told conventional only war. If Iran decides to get involved in that, we could start a Middle East, and I mean the whole area, a Middle East major war conflict, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have Iran pretty much on its own. Turkey's not going to put up with Iran. They already told them, screw off, leave us alone, don't bother us. Well, then you have the problem with Iran blowing up the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia is not the pristine thing that everybody likes to think
I don't like them very much.
I mean, they act pretty much like Iran does in terms of women, in terms of rights, and all this other sort of stuff.
Exactly. They're horrible.
You get funny, they put you in jail permanently. They don't have to charge you; they just stick you in there. Don't poke your head outside the cage, man, or I'll blow it off, kind of, and we might give you some rats to eat or something. But what the gist is that you've got Iran, Turkey, India, Pakistan, Yemen, let's see here, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, and they're all looking to go after each other. So there's going to be siding up. They're going to decide who goes where. Turkey doesn't have the intelligence to leave the Kurds alone in Syria. And we sent in some of our American flagged armor to ensure that they don't screw up. Well, the problem is that all of a sudden they are boasting about, oh, we took out 100 or whatever it was. This has been all over the news. And the problem with that is that Trump's already told them don't screw it up. So we'll see where that goes.
What's wrong with them? Don't they want peace in this world? I mean, what is the problem? It's the government leaders. It's not the people.
The word peace is a foreign language, okay? It's all about tribe, okay? That's first. And you can have several tribes under a warlord who dominates an area, okay? Then you have countries such as Turkey, Iran, etc., who believes very absolutely that if you're not Muslim by birth, you're wrong and can be executed or done with as pleased at any time.
That's why we had a law in 1952 that never should have been removed, I think.
Yeah, but it's not. The thing is, nobody on any of these levels of anything going on has enforced diddly squat. Goose egg, okay? How do you enforce it? Well, it's pretty simple. You shoot down one of our drones, we wipe out one of your airfields. Okay? I mean, Saudi Arabia should be arming itself with intermediate range weapons that can hit Iran. Now,
Why do they always rely on America to do all the dirty work for them, though, too? It's like...
There's another reason for Trump backing up and pulling people out of Afghanistan and whatnot. That is not our war.
Thank you.
Well, so what we're ending up with is a whole lot of leftovers, civil wars, tribal disagreements, countries arguing, people lobbing an artillery shell or whatever here and there, and that sort of thing. So far, now, if Turkey starts trying to take definitive action in Syria, Trump's already told them, no, don't do that. Then we're liable to see the United States military involved in something that's a little bit different than what has gone before. The problem, I'll say it again, and it should be very clear. ET has jumped up and down and hollered at me about this. It goes to the simple fact of enforcement. Hey, Iran, don't do that again. Well, they come out there and run their little speedboats around a battleship that I'm on. We're going to sink that little mother and see what they do about that. You think it's cool to blow our drones out of the sky? Well, how about we just pop a couple of your little speedboats? How about we destroy part of your docking system? How about you hit Saudi Arabia, so now they have the right to send in fighter jets and bomb your oil fields and support and the tit for tat ideology, well, hey, it's hard to get this past diplomacy. Everybody thinks diplomacy, we're going to talk. Well, the time for talk ends when you don't get any kind of a reasonable response or result from diplomacy. And so far, diplomacy has failed. It's like trying to tell a serial killer, quit it. You're a bad boy. Doesn't work that way. Well, if we put a Moab, the mother of all bombs, and dropped it somewhere where they really wouldn't care to have that thing dropped, maybe that would get the message across. Oh, that's an act of war. What do you think you did to Saudi Arabia, dink? Guess what? So we have all this stuff going on, and we'll see whether or not it comes to a head, if anything blows up, or if somebody decides to finally start enforcing things like international law, human rights, whatever. So that's what's going on right here. Now, ET's ready. They got all their logistics. They got all their people ready to go. They have all of the material necessary to assist humankind on a global basis become the golden age people that we have been hearing about. Now, the golden age came up three times before. And each time we had certain factions from differing places in this galaxy come in and just bomb the shit out of the planet. One of them decided to make it look like a natural disaster. So they went through the asteroid belt using what it's called a tractor beam. That's our explanation. Grabbed hold of a bunch of these rocks and just threw them at Earth. And it damn near wiped us out. It was real close. Wow. Okay. This has happened, like I say, 3 times that I know of. I was hunting for the 4th, but you have to get into the hierarchy, and I didn't want to go that far. I'd rather, have a decent life instead of the fun games they're wanting me to get into. So we got this big mess. Now, so far, you're just on a regular wash cycle. Wait till that mother hits spin cycle. Even worse, wait until spin cycle is humongous. Boo-wee. There's a difference in drag racing cars, and when you get to a rail, which is a long one with the big tires on one end, a little bicycle on the other end, that would be spin cycle on steroids. Put it that way.
It just seems like one of the biggest problems on this entire planet stems from religiosity and people having an ideology within the religion that allows horrendous things to occur.
Every one of them. Christians have got it in the Bible. Oh boy, Alice in Wonderland, off in his head. Okay. I mean, and it goes on and on and on. Now, some of the things have been proven online. I've seen the results of the proofs where the beheading never happened. Think about that very carefully. USS Liberty was attacked by Israeli fighter jets and just damn near sunk. They weren't able to do it. They were going to blame somebody else and start a major war, conflict, whatever, in that area. Okay, it didn't happen. Then you have 9/11. Everybody says, "Oh, well, I give you guys some heads up. That was sanctioned, and Mossad had a part in it. We supplied the special explosive cutters that were used. Why was the Air Force? Why did they have them stand down when we could have taken out jetliners? Okay, they wanted that to continue. The reason they did that was to see whether or not they could get America pissed off enough to go to war. Full scale, let's go kill them all. War. Didn't happen. had a hell of a bunch of flags pop up everywhere. But the problem and those types of things come from the deep state everybody talks about.
Yes, they're so evil.
Well, I'm going to see if I can get in touch with some people that know who they are. And I'm gonna this Saturday, I'm putting out a list of names. There's probably 30, 40 names on there because some buttwipe threatened my family. Yeah, we're going to go after your kids. I said, you do that, and I will eliminate you, your house, your cars, everything that you got, including your wife and kids. I don't have any problem with that. If you're going after mine, I'm coming for you and yours. All right. Because I named names. Well, this time
I'm being targeted right now too, for that matter. But anyway.
Well, I got a list. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and they exist around the planet. It's not just in America, but there's a lot of them here, unfortunately.
Well, what you have is multinational corporations that have these people embedded. Basically, you don't really have the straight up corporate control everybody'd like to think. So anyway, so ET is ready to assist. They have all of the, you're going to love this. Think about a replicator. Think about taking that to some people that don't have anything at all, such as Indonesia.
I would love to see that. I would love to be there because, the people, the joy and the happiness and the
all they got to do is you make up a small portion, and it can be a small portion, the size of a baseball less. You put it in the replicator and hit the button that says program, and it goes through that whole thing, everything about it, and you get exactly what you asked for, minus any kind of germs, diseases, and things of that nature. It won't allow that through. It's got filters. But the next time somebody wants a perfectly cooked sweet potato, you can have one. I mean, fish heads and rice. I've eaten fish heads and rice. It's good food. It really is great. But, well, I was in Vietnam. That's what they eat.
All these guys, all this warring with each other, it's holding that all up.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? The
troublemakers.
You have to look at something that is pretty extraordinary, and we'll see how it goes in about 18 months. There's some people that got tired of the same stuff you're talking about, and they started a program called Walk Away. Not just from the Democrats, but all the lefties, socialists, and other nasties out there. Okay, the response has been somewhere in the neighborhood of 50%. That's pretty,
Wow. Well, people. It seems like a slow process, but people are starting to wake up a little more.
Exactly. So why don't you give me one of them woke up questions and we'll run down the road.
Then let's do that. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Now I had them all on a sheet of paper or in the computer, and somehow I ran a program and it erased them all, and I was pretty upset about that. But okay, I got to make sure I use the right.
I'm all back.
Okay, here's one of the first questions. Pardon? Okay. When the Dark Cabal is finally defeated, will the twists and turns of the plan finally be explained to the public?
Yes. It will be published in major publications and online and on TV. Okay?
Okay. The FBI continues to be uncooperative and shady despite being told to trust Ray. The very fabric of our country is being ripped apart because of the Dark Cabal lies, like over justice, Kavanaugh, guns, racism, climate hoax, to name a few. I guess I was waiting for the question. You're also made reference to the President of the United States having their own private army at their disposal. What's stopping them from rounding up these traitors?
Well, first of all, logistics. Secondly, you got to be able to absolutely correctly identify. And you have to really start taking a closer look at the things that are being accomplished. there are a whole bunch of things from different groups, organizations, and people that are taking place long term. So you're going to have to understand sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and why people drag their feet. I mean, the reason they have not given me authority is because they know that I'd be slapping bodies into jail cells as fast as I can run. Now, I might be old, run too good, but we could start.
But they don't waste any time doing that to the people. That's what really is upsetting. But now these other ones are getting away with all this stuff, and they're still not being arrested. Now, I assume that these indictments, and I was under the understanding that the military or the Marines are standing ready to back up some of these arrests with the indictments and so on. Is that true?
Yes. You heard about the Marine Corps being able to be deployed. Yeah. Why you think that is? It's not because you got a couple hundred UN dingleberries running around. It is because they're setting the stage. And they're going to tell you this for what I have been trying to tell people are called mass arrests. Now, you think about going into Congress and only leaving, check this out, this many people left. Think about that. There's almost 500 people in it, and all of them are dirty, guilty, or some such. They all get to go. Ooh, now there have been certain individuals that have been taking one-way trips to Gitmo. There's a certain website that broadcasts that sort of thing, which I like. Now the problem is they do not, and this is interesting, they do not have a passenger list, period. And nobody will out that information. Now here's the other part. Some of the fun and games that people have been playing will come to a screeching halt. And this is from future timelines that other people cannot get access to. So you're looking at a combination of present and future. That's going to be pretty nice.
It can't happen fast enough.
Yeah. Telling them to hurry up, and they don't pay no attention to me either.
Yeah. Here's another question. Why does the Dark Ball and their secret space program get to use all the fancy tech like replicators, med beds, and free energy in 3D, but we are forbidden to have it until 4D? How is that fair in any way? And when you factor in taxpayer-funded research and development and our paychecks, how is that fair? It's not fair.
It's very simple. They don't have them.
What do you mean they don't have them?
That is, okay, well, listen to me. That's a rumor to separate the rich from people that are not. It's real simple. It's not complicated, but you have to know what the technique is. And the technique is that if you accuse somebody of something, Trump's got to be guilty. We'll get a phone call. Really? Okay. Now, Trump turned right around, turned that out immediately. Well, you got a whole bunch of other things going on at the same time where people got to be guilty of one thing or another simply because, we got to impeach Kavanaugh. We got to impeach Barr. We got to impeach Giuliani. We got to whole lot of well, there's a whole lot of pie holes open and screaming with no substance.
Okay.
Yes.
We want to design and create something that doesn't exist yet. Can we use a computer program or something to design it and then put it in a replicator and create it?
Not really. It uses physical assimilation in order to produce said objects. So you'd have to build one first. Prototype.
Here's a good one. Will there be cameras in the FEMA camp so we can witness the liberals and Democrats brainwashing in prep for ET to rewire them like in Gitmo? If not, can I please request them? After all, we've been through because of them and their delusions. We could use a little entertainment and closure.
Well, no, you're not going to get to watch. The re-education things that are done is a technology that can be weaponized real easily, and they're not going to allow that out. Okay?
Okay. I think this question was answered once before. It says male pedos lose an inch for each offense. That, I don't know that that's real anyway, but what about women? Women can be pedos too, and of course they are. Look what Hillary did. I know from personal experience, they don't have near the amount of available flesh to remove downstairs, but chemical castration isn't nearly the same punishment as a slice and dice, and punishment should be equal. What's done with the females, pedos, and sexual abusers?
Same thing as the males. There's not going to be any difference in terms of the punishments administered or whatever. Now, we are in adjudications. Humanity is going to have a large say in executing certain people that need it according to our capability very desperately. But there's also going to be a whole bunch of them that are not going to be allowed to be executed because of what they do in the future is so great. Okay, and what they do is they take that person and run them through what's called a re-education program. That's the beginning, okay? Then they question that person about certain things after they recover from the procedure. And if, and this is the if, they have not improved, then ET uses super technology and will rewire your brain.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Given that we know the dark cabal is being influenced and given help in every conceivable way by negative ETs and spirit beings, just how much of this mess are we regular people truly responsible for? Yeah, they always want blaming humanity for everything, but you have to ask, you know, where.
Okay, that's where my job comes in, and several others. We've been going about decimating, and let's put it this, let's really be wonderful, and deleting the existence of these perps that think they can come running from some moon somewhere as a small force. We've even taken on large forces, and nothing's matched us yet. We have wiped them, trying to be nice here, we have wiped them out. And the neat part about all that is that they won't come back. We have allowed like one ship with certain representatives that have been told about how things really are, and they've seen what we can do on the battlefield. Hey, buddy, go back and visit your friends in that little planetary system you got going on, and be sure and tell them, if you come to visit us and you ain't invited, ooh.
Well, some of these, you know, some of this stuff that goes on that people can hardly comprehend as reality, the number of missing children, the number of missing adults, and the fact that they're actually, you know, being eaten, being tortured, all kinds of things that are unconscionable.
We have stopped about 90% of that, okay? Yeah. There's a few who are adept at slipping through things, and they have managed to get here and do nefarious things. That does not mean that they're going to, first of all, get away with it, or secondly, get away even after they get here. So the neat part is that they figure a way to slither through. Ooh, and when they go to leave, oh my goodness, somebody welded the door shut. Now what the hell are we supposed to do? Okay. We've trapped a number of them here in different places. We're just about ready to hit them hard. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, the ETs that are beneficial, that like the human race, mostly because we're so friggin' different from anything they've ever come across, more than willing to partner up with us. Hey, man, try this gun. You remember the Men in Black? Here, you get this little bitty thing, and I get the great bit, this little squeaky cricket. And the man looked at him and says, "It's more than what you think." When he fired it, It knocked him, I don't know, 30 feet, and he stuck himself in a windshield and made a big old round hole when it's in the vantage. So nobody really quite understands how far ET goes. Extraterrestrial meaning somebody that doesn't live actively on our planet. Okay, very few of some applies, but very few of the things that man thinks about in terms of what has to happen is for real. Size doesn't matter. You can have ETs that are the same size or even smaller than a nano that are extraordinarily powerful. And they like shooting nanos, so, the bad ones, so we're in good shape on that. I mean, it goes on and on. Remember Men in Black?
Yeah.
They had a galaxy and that little tiny thingy on the collar. Well,
the whole universe, yeah. That's pretty amazing.
extraordinary.
I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Okay. How will white hats begin to arrest the people who have sealed indictments? And when will the new channels come online that will...
Well, first of all, you have to exercise those indictments and arrest warrants. That's first. This is the exercise in terms of the beginning of enforcement. Then after that, the white hats will, we're going to pop out. We got, last I heard there was 5 and they were thinking about more channels. Okay. That's on satellite and cable and whatnot. That will give instructions as to what to do about this, that, and the other thing, what the situation is, where we're going with it, and the whole 9 yards. So until such time as we start enforcing things, we get to sit here and watch all the fun go on.
Okay, what are they spraying in the sky? I live in Ohio. Someone is spraying something in the sky, and it looks like a white mist.
Yeah. That would be, that could be several things. It could be an entity. That's one. Second thing is it could be evidence of something that happened. And third, it could be something that is looking to happen. You don't know until it manifests or makes something real. That's like this. You got a bunch of little globes that glow different colors and whatnot. You got great huge ones. Nobody has been able to catch one, let alone open it up and, whether you got to on the door and see who's in there or what, So go from there. Take a guess. Everybody else is.
Okay, here's another good one. Will the IRS be shut down wait a minute. Will the IRS be shut down soon, as they are still taking money out of my checking as of this month? Will the gold standard be by the end of the year, and buying power of the dollar reflect that by the end of the year?
Supposed to be. IRS is supposed to go here shortly. What's funny about the IRS is that first, it doesn't exist on a legal basis here in the States, and secondly, it does not have the parameters that it says it does. So, poof.
Yeah, that's just amazing because too, I have my youngest son who has learning disabilities and issues and has only worked pretty much as a dishwasher, has the IRS coming after him saying that he owes them money. I mean, come on.
If in any way, shape, or form he can disprove that, then you need to get a hold of the disability people and tell them what's going on. Pretty simple. If you inform, right now is really a decent time in a lot of ways. You can inform certain agencies, certain departments, etc., and they will take care of business. They're not playing anymore. So, there you go.
They better not be. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay, here's another one. Please ask Drake if we are going into the 1,000 years of Jubilee. And that's biblical, isn't it?
Yeah, and what you have to understand about certain things such as prophecies, etc., those things, first of all, are not written in stone. Secondly, and this is most important, most of the foundation for most of these things has been changed. It's been changed for even the better. The 1,000 years of It's a Beautiful Life has been changed into infinity.
Thank you. I was hoping you were going to say that. I was going to finish your words if you didn't.
As long as we uphold our part of the bargain, it's going to be great. You'll love it. Golden age and all that good stuff.
Awesome. What about the GCRV is for rebuilding the planet? Are we going to be taken off the planet before we get humanitarian projects done?
No. Only certain people will be taken off the planet, and there's not going to be any kind of nasty that will drive us off. And thirdly, the GCR has to be implemented in each of the countries that have signed on to it. Right now, that stands at just, I think there's only 2 or 3 left on the planet that have not signed on to it. What the GCR does is it can take a poor country and elevate it. And I mean dramatically.
No,
so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, that's only one aspect. There's a bunch of them. What?
Okay. Well, isn't it a requirement with the GCR peace? Isn't that part of the deal that there has to be peace?
Yeah, but it's even more than what a lot of people realize, in that it is absolute. It's something that there are. How can I put this? Groups, agencies, etc., that control the planet. They stipulate certain things. The GCR has been stipulated by multiple, let's say, handlers, controllers, whatever you want to call it, and thus it cannot be ignored. If you want to do any business of any sort, doesn't matter what it is, with somebody other than your own people, the choice is that you sign on to the GCR. It will be beneficial. It may not sound quite right this way or that way, but it will all be beneficial. Everybody benefits. We lose some of our horse hockey. In other words, the dollar's worth so much, or you got the stock market doing this or whatever. Okay, it'll alleviate a lot of the BS that goes along with that sort of thing.
Well, the Zim notes that people have purchased, or Dong or whatever, like the Zim, will that be valuable at some point?
Yeah. Not necessarily maybe to the extent or the manner in which people have stipulated it would be, but yes, it will increase dramatically in value. Okay.
Okay. Oh, good. And that would be with when the GCR actually goes.
When the GCR finalizes, I doubt we're going to have any central banking system, for one. But what it does is it goes from debt on one side, the thing we've been fighting with for forever, to equity. And that change is, oh my goodness, it's humongous. Your debt instrument then becomes, over time, becomes worthless. It will be traded in, like at the bank when you cash your check or you get change back or whatever. The old greenback will be traded in slowly for the new gold-backed basket currency that the United States will use. And this is interesting. I didn't know, but I asked the other day about reserve currency, and they said that the new gold-backed United States currency will be the new global currency. So you have to understand that the reserve is there, and this time it's going to be available for everybody.
Awesome.
A lot of the differential in, I make 50 cents an hour. Oh, I make you make 50 cents. I make $5,000 an hour. That's going to be leveled out considerably. Okay?
Awesome. That's good to hear. That really is. I was under the understanding, I read something about it, like Chase Bank and what is it? Oh, some other one. Anyway, that they have been heavily fined.
Yeah. Well, you can't. They did a bunch of illegal stuff, and you can't do that. And this is, I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but you have to notice one main thing, and that is we're going from the idea of an oligarch or oligarchy controlling mechanism. We're shifting away from that from the idea that you bribe somebody to get what you want. We're shifting over to law and order, and it's not just happening here in the States; it's happening globally.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, people have been. It's been so unfair to people. I mean, the difference in
yeah, exactly.
income and that no matter what people do. I mean, people would always say, "Oh, I worked hard." Well, guess what? Coal miners work hard too, but they're not paid.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Okay. We have the books out there. Are you impatient, Drake? Okay. I don't have my list, so I have to go through the questions. Okay, here's one. Divination using tarot cards is popular on YouTube. Is it all BS or does it carry any truth in the forecasts made?
Ouija board and tarot cards are the only two essences that are easy to find that go back to the original magic that was practiced here on this planet. Now, the original magic is pretty awesome in that you are able to speak to spirits. I'm not going to tell you which kind. You have to, if it comes jumping out of the closet and it's on fire, it's probably not a good spirit.
Probably might want to protect yourself before you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So then you have, but you have to look at the original magic, and it's a form of control of natural conditions that you might be interested in. Merlin was expert at it. One of. There's been several. So yeah, there you go.
Don't we have black magic going on in the courts with the black robes?
Black magic. There's no such thing as black and white magic.
Mm-hmm. Just magic is magic. Is that what you're saying?
Magic is a determination of use. And if you do it for nasty, then it's black. You do the same thing for good, it's white. So you see where the misconception comes in. Okay.
What about astrology? Again, it's popular. Is it BS? Is there any truth in any of the forecasts or in the generalities about people born in certain times and so on?
Okay, you're going to love this. You got to go back to some of the original magic in order to be able to designate that what you get in the way of information about astrology is correct. In other words, there's an application. And I'm not going to tell you. You're going to go look it up. You go look it up. There's an application that allows you to cause it to be very accurate, very real. But it can be, even the generalities can be, and you'll find that most of the stuff you find like online or, in a comic book or wherever, you'll find out that in very general terms that it is very general and it generally applies. Now, if you want that real generalized stuff, enjoy yourself. If not, if you want it to be specific, try and figure out what that application was. There are some magic books out there that contain that in it. Go find them.
Okay. This question is interesting because I'm not sure what it's being for what they're referring to. Maybe you do. How should we prepare for the upcoming events of October 19th?
Well, there ain't one.
Okay. Well, good. Maybe that's why I didn't know anything about it.
Well, hold on and pay attention. They've been having the end of the world every so often. We've been having events every so. We've been having this and that and the other thing. ET's supposed to come and visit every one of us. Now, is that going to be like the pillow guy? When you open up you're about half asleep and you open up your medicine cabinet and he's standing on the other side and goes, "Hi." I tell him, "Get the hell out of my bathroom, close the thing." Well, you have to understand that this is this sort of thing that these people, get into. Sometimes you got basis, and sometimes it's just misplaced imagination, let's say.
Okay. The Galactics are manufacturing gold for the poor countries of the world for the new gold financial system. If gold can be manufactured, then is gold worthless?
Well, first of all, no and no. Those entities were put into detention by me and my people. Secondly, you can tell that there's a way to tell the difference. So the bogus was removed. Okay.
Good. Okay. Also, will the Rothschilds steal the gold manufacturing technology to replace the fiat dollar and continue to control the world's financial system?
Rothschild ain't diddly squat. You just wait. And you'll see what I'm talking about. He's got the whole family has humongously huge, large bills to pay. They don't got the money to do it. That means that they can be negated at any point to somebody who decides to call them on it. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's see. Questions for Drake. Let me see what this one is.
Finding some really strange questions.
Okay, here we go. I agree with your description of the way the nation and the law is supposed to work, but we're not there yet. If Americans have inalienable rights, as you say, why does Giuliani say Americans have civil rights?
Well, if you really look at the definitions and what Giuliani means, it's the same thing, okay? The differential is we tried to write laws, conditions, constitutions, you name it, in order to reinforce the natural God-given laws and rights that individuals are supposed to have. Mm-hmm. We're not very good at it. Go to the hood and ask the people that live there how much benefit they have gotten from all of this, and they'll turn around and say diddly squat.
Okay, well, yeah, this is kind of proven as you go on here. It says, why do police and judges ignore our right to travel the King's Highway unmolested by government extortionists who use our papers to make us persons or slaves by another label?
It's pretty simple. You have to take them to task individually, make them a defendant in a case where you actually use the Federalist Papers that contain those things in its representation of the Bill of Rights. They adjusted everything when they changed let's take the Bill of Rights and put it over here. Okay. And then they wrote a different one. I mean, how many times you got to do this before you get it right? Well, very simple. The Federalist Papers are unique in that they have never been repealed or had any kind of adjustment to them, which means that particular portion of the Federalist Papers contains within it your free right to travel without interference as a travel law. If you are a commercial, then they got a right to screw around with you. Okay, most people are not commercial. Consequently, you have to go to contract law to find the commercializations and all the parameters to it.
Well, they're ching people all the time in the court. They get out of there, they get some traffic ticket, and they go to the.
I haven't heard of anybody putting a judge in jail yet either.
Well, they need to prosecute him, that's for sure. I guess.
Fine, take the prosecutor and put his butt in the cooler too.
They don't know how to do it. Yeah, prosecute the prosecutor and prosecute the judges. People don't do that.
Not exactly. What you have to do is make them liable in their own right for misrepresentation of the law. When you do that and you do it correctly, they're screwed. They lose whatever standing they've got. If they're a prosecutor for somebody, no matter who it is, they lose that. Plus, they lose their right to practice law. If you really push it, you can make that a right to practice law nationwide, so they can't just go next door to the next state and start doing the same stuff to everybody else again. It's okay. A judge has an oath to uphold and administer the law correctly. That means that it has to abide by the letter of the law, and it's very simple. Oh, Lord. If they don't, then that was my doorbell.
Oh,
If they don't, then they're liable. You're going to have to hold up a minute. I got to see what this is.
okay. Well, while Drake is seeing who that is, I'd like to point out to people that you might want to look up Title 18, U.S. Code 241 and 242, which talks about conspiracy against rights, and the other one is deprivation of rights under the color of law, which could be very helpful in any case that you might have in that regard, because basically it means that the police are acting in are felons. But anyway, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I just talked about Title 18, Code 241 and 242 as something that people might want to look up.
You might want to look up the whole friggin' thing.
I know, but it's like this big.
Yeah, I didn't say this was going to be easy. If you really get into your rights and you really decide to defend it and defend them, maybe help somebody else in the process, you're going to be reading somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen. Do you hear that? Dozen law books. The big old fat mothers that's, people are afraid to pull off the shelf in the library because they weigh 10 pounds. Real simple. It's not difficult. Now, when you have found the basis for all these things, then you can tone that down a bit and, put it in a pamphlet and pass it out to everybody or something. Okay?
Well, there's a big difference between inalienable rights and rights that are really privileges and so on. Do you know what I mean?
They're trying to tell you that the free right to travel is a privilege. Tell them I said that. It ain't a privilege.
The judge will put you in contempt and put you in jail.
No, but I might put the judge in jail.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that need to go to jail. That's for sure.
The thing is, you have to understand now, there's two types of that. One is ignorance. They don't know the law. They've never been introduced to that, so they don't know. Well, then what you do is, can we get a judicial continuance until such time as you have, brought yourself up to a functional level on what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not uncommon, okay, especially in criminal law. The second is somebody purposely, and this is nasty, purposely misadministering the law.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in many ways they're not really judges, they're administrators of the U.S. bankruptcy and assigning all those debts to people or persons, actually.
The real big problem is judges making off law, morality or whatever from the bench. That's the big problem. When you catch some mother that does that, or of one that does that, you can set them up real easily. Constitutional challenge to the right to hold their seat removes them from the bench until that's done being adjudicated. And another judge does not have the right to circumvent what you present under those conditions. They have to absolutely follow the letter of the law, or they get to go to jail too. So this gets into a real big load of my greatest frustration. I find, and I hear from people all the time, my rights are violated. Oh, really? Did you do anything about it? No. What the hell do you do with somebody that won't protect themselves? What do you do with a dummy that wants to poke a bear with a stick? Oh, it's after me. Really? Imagine that, Now, when you apply stupidity with the bear and the stick, that's pretty obvious. When you get into the intricacies of the law, it's different. The application of the law can be and should be an equitable solution to whatever the problem is that is presented. If it's not, then it shouldn't fly. Real simple.
Well, it just seems like, there are an awful lot of judges that roll right over people, and people don't know how to deal with it.
Okay, an exertion of authority by an individual is different than the exertion of authority by the law. Big difference. That's where you get into equities. That's where you get into a judge no longer having a seat anywhere in the country. He gets to go pick and shovel work or flip burgers or something. He's got to find a new profession totally.
Mm-hmm. So we're going, we're talking about more natural law, not just codes and statutes, or what?
Well, it's a combination. This is what I'm trying to express. You have God-given law and rights, etc. That's all well and good and known. Okay. Then you have the portions they don't want you to know, such as the free right to travel, things of this nature. And if you actually present this correctly, they don't have a leg to stand on. Now, most people really get in deep doo-doo because these people will assess a fine or some such. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a problem with that. If you don't have an injured party that you can pay recompense for injury to, then there can be no fine. Why? Well, because the judge, administrator, whatever he is, cannot put the state on his bench. Won't fit.
It's an injured party, right?
The state is made up of everybody that lives there and its physical parameters. So if you get into the law, you'll find out that the state, no government or state, can be the injured party. Not possible. It's in Black's Law Dictionary. You might want to start reading it. Took me 3 volumes to figure out what Black's was talking about.
Well, yeah, I know. I've seen Black's Law, but believe me, I've looked at a number of things, like the definition of person is not what it want to be, things of that nature. Okay, let me find another one.
You got one more question, do you?
Oh, I have a bunch more questions. It's just taking me a little longer to get to them because I lost the ones that I already had. But anyway.
My computer ate my homework. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, kind of. Just before the show, I did a malware bites thing, and it erased my questions out of Microsoft Word, and I don't know why it did that, but it did. But anyway.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm going to have to find a different. That's not really a question. Okay. Okay, here's the 3 questions from Earth Angel. Regarding getting my home back, my court dealings, I am pro se, and as you stated, to file in federal court a constitutional challenge to the judge holding the seat because of misapplication of the law intentionally, and this takes 30 days. Would it be worth the energy, since we will be transitioning by the end of the year and we will all have homes?
Yeah. Now, here's the deal. Everybody out there who's facing any form of foreclosure has a nice little option, and very few have exercised it. And that is, proof of ownership requires the title deed. If you get the title deed, we got an affidavit. So show me the title deed. Okay, you have heard about real estate backed trusts and equities and things of that nature. Well, guess what? They bundle a bunch of them up and then they sell them. They sell that bundle to somebody. And somebody maybe has more than one of these bundles, and it decides that it's going to change things around a little bit more. Okay. Meanwhile, your title deed is floating around in Gaga land. Okay. After the thing's sold about the 3rd time, nobody can come up with the title deed because they don't have a clue as to which direction it took off in. If a person is going to allow such idiots as bean counters and other nefarious individuals to play mobster games with their equities, then so be it. I'm done. But if you don't want to play that game, you need to ask the judge one simple question. These people have not proven that they own the property. You know, have a lien on it or whatever, doesn't matter. They haven't proven they own the property. Well, we got an affidavit. That's not proof of ownership. I understand that it's a title deed that gives you proof of ownership. And generally, a case of that nature is dismissed, and you end up, and this is really neat, absolved of your mortgage liabilities. You get a free friggin' house. That's about the best deal I got to offer everybody. But request the judge to have them produce the title deed. If they can't produce the title deed, they don't have right to ownership, and they cannot bill you for mortgage payments and all this other happy fun and games that they think is so cute.
Because they've been getting away with it for so many years, and they hypothecate that the name and
yeah. After a period on average of 3 to 5 years, doesn't matter the cost of the house. If you have been making your payments, the actions of the mortgage companies in terms of what do they call that? I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, when they make money off of the sale of REITs, real estate investment trusts, or whatever, your little bundle that I was talking about, okay? They have paid your mortgage off. They made the money, and it was off of you, your credit, okay? It's convoluted to get to the point where you can tell them, sorry, we're done. It's really, really difficult, but there are several places out there that specialize in that. You might be able to find a real estate lawyer who knows how to do that. I don't know what the cost. I have no idea what the costs are, but that's an option. Okay.
Okay. When will humanity stop paying rent and bills?
When we convert to, we're going to have to transition to fifth density and accept the offers from the galactics on trade deals in order to take care of the financial end of things in toto. In other words, you're not going to have, you might have a card, and that card may be rescinded, depends. If you're getting food, if you get, well, it depends on what you're getting. If you get a place to live, food to eat, clothes to wear, you got a replicator so you can make whatever you feel like you want, small items primarily. And you have a never-ending service. You're an artist, you make music, you are an engineer, whatever, and you apply that trade and your expertise in that area to the betterment of mankind, you won't have no bills.
Won't that be the day? Won't that be the day? You know, speaking of today, I was wondering, are you familiar with the term appellation? I hope I'm saying it correctly.
Who?
Appellation, Appellation. It refers
Appalachian Mountains? Appalachia?
no, not mountains. It's a word, and it means like a title, or it could be name. And what was really interesting about it is, I'd like to share this, is how people know how as soon as you say the name in a courtroom, it's used against you. And what people would say when they're asked their name would be, Judge, are you compelling me to incriminate myself? And I have an appellation. I don't have a name. And I don't know. You might want to look into that, because I just read that this morning and I found it very interesting.
Part of what you're talking about. Okay. Now here's how that works. Your given name is your name. It is not all capitals.
Yeah.
That's a big mistake everybody makes. Okay. If you accept all capital naming, then you are playing with what's called a straw man, the one that don't exist that they play games with all the time.
That's what they're using the court.
Well, I understand that, and that makes everything in that court illegal. Oops. Now, Texas Freedom School or whatever it is contains all the information you need to know about that. You can require that they address you as a person, live human being, and you can require payment for that attention.
But if you look up person in Black's Law, it's not a living man.
Hold on a minute. Well, the title, your name is your title, your personal title. You have a capital first letter, and the rest of it is a small case. Always. Well, and it doesn't matter if it's first name, last name, or first, middle, and last. Always. It's capital letter at the beginning, small case after that. That is you. All right. When you come up against the all capitalization, that is the fictitious straw man that everyone wants to jump up and down and raise hell about. Okay. And you can't answer for that because it's a fiction. The government's the only one that can, deal with that. Okay. So, if you require the court to deal with you as a living being, that's a totally different deal. And you can charge them up to $20,000 an hour, payable in gold, for your services of answering questions. Go to the Texas Law School and check it out.
Are you familiar with the term sui juris?
That is the proper name of the situation of being I'm trying to sovereign. There we go. And that, remember it? That's exactly what that is. Yeah. And it deals directly with the sovereignty of places and people.
Having full legal rights and capacity is a definition. I just looked it up.
That's what I just said, sovereign.
Yeah, exactly.
Sovereign, and it's the same thing. So
I knew you were going right there.
The problem you're going to run up against is idiots that have not, and now people, I say idiot, it comes from the Greek word idios. It means uninstructed. You're going to run up against people that need to be instructed. Whether they slept through that part of their law class or what is not our problem. But they're going to try to make it our problem. So what you have to do is you have to go and wake them up.
It's funny, they have your all cap name, they put it all in caps on a driver's license, and you're not a driver because that's commercial. But
exactly. You're a travel lord. This is something that you got to, think about taking the Department of Motor Vehicles in your state to task over that shit. Driver, operator, no. Traveler. Either put traveler on there or forget it. What do you mean? I'm not required by law to have that thing to begin with. I was trying to be nice and give you some accommodation. I see that your only accommodation is to send the police after me. Enjoy yourself because the cop's not going to be able to keep his badge. And guess what? I'm going to come after you and eat you a new one too. Simple.
People really have to take these people to court, to task on it, because they've been getting away with it for so long. They just assume it, and a cop will say right to you, well, in this state you have to have a driver's license.
You don't. What I'm trying to express is this: individual states, have to be taken to task under these laws. The free right to travel is a part of your Bill of Rights. Ooh. I know what that means literally, and you can't repeal the Bill of Rights. Not unless you want a Civil War too. It's not difficult once you get to understand how it really works. And I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try not to get into the full legal definitions and parameters. If you looked at juris up in blacks, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
At the end of it, it says, in essence, sovereignty.
Yeah.
Sovereign individual, you got different deal. Yes, what?
Okay, I got a good one because this could become an issue for people, and I think we've addressed it a little bit, but I'd like to tell you to tell people how you've addressed it before. What's the argument to make such that under any circumstance you can always be able to talk yourself out of any kind of vaccination?
Vaccinations are illegal. The reason they're illegal is because of the manner in which the mechanics of your physical system work, to the extent that it is similar to using explosive devices. A vaccination goes into your system and it explodes, literally. It can go in a dozen different directions. Vaccinations were designed that way to immediately treat really bad diseases with a sudden burst of your own system. Well, there are several different ways you can approach that without having to worry about vaccinations. Now, one of the neat little things that came across in the news that I get is that this season's vaccinations for that terrible thing called the flu, okay, does not work. Ooh.
Thank you. And but you see them, they're advertising, get your free
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or we'll give you a free, I've even seen this, believe it or not. You'll get a free lunch if you get your free vaccination. Unbelievable. But anyway, it's not really, they charge the insurance company or what have you, so they are getting paid, but it's nefarious. But anyway, okay. Can you replicate a guitar strings, a voltmeter, a cell phone, a desktop computer, magnets, chemicals, such as bleach, or a degreaser with a replicator?
Yes. The only problem is whatever it is that you're going to replicate has to fit in the replicator you got. So a guitar might be difficult unless you want to take it all apart.
Okay.
You're going to get one that's about the size of a toaster oven, basically, a little bit bigger than the average microwave. Some people have over-the-counter microwaves that are 30 inches long, but the inside of it is what you have to look at. The inside of it is only about a foot and a half square. What you have to understand is that's your limitation. If it'll fit in, it's liable to mess up your guitar thoroughly if you put it in one of them. If you crunch, bang, bang.
Okay, we're getting close to our time running out here, but there's a couple more questions. This were related to 9/11. It says, when is the 9/11 information going to be declassified or released? Will justice ever be enforced for what went on?
Well, that's a good question on the second part. First part, if you look online for 9/11, scientific evidence of scientific information about 9/11. Put that in your search engine, and you'll get a listing of several people. And these are top of the line scientists that explain to you what happened. Yeah, I mean, it's a full explanation. As far as getting things straightened up, good luck.
Is Alexandria Cortez going to get more?
It would be nice to see somebody of that nature be exiled from our country. Let's put it down. Okay?
Yes, it would. Okay, here's another one. Is Trump and his family also going to live in their new assigned box? And what's going to happen to Trump Towers?
Nothing.
I think you explained about the size.
Well, Trump ain't going anywhere, so don't worry about it. Okay?
Okay. Is Elon Musk a real human?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of, and now here's the thing. Be very careful about anybody who says everybody's a clone. Everybody's a clone.
I
Forget-
know.
everybody is not a clone.
Thank you. There's somebody out there that's saying that about everybody. Okay. Reports say he still uses rockets for Earth orbit, but is he actually using real spaceships that can go out into the galaxy?
We don't have any, he doesn't have any of those, and we don't have them available yet either. We're limited quite considerably on that.
Yeah, because we're not trusted out there, are we?
That among other things.
Let's see. People who are dying right now, are they going to reincarnate in 4D?
Yes, whenever you die, in other words, your biological function stops, you go to the next dimension. Okay. These people will be schooled on what happened to them, just like everybody that it transitions. Same sort of a deal, only you don't have the death part. They can, and to an extent, it's an option to the individual, depending on their understanding and capabilities. If you understand 4D real well, then you're going to transition to 5 pretty quickly. There's a lot of people in 4D right now that not only have the understanding, but have the capabilities that are needed, and they'll be going to 5 about the time we get to 4. Okay?
Okay. Drake, have you heard of the Creator's Room?
The creator, what?
Room, ROOM.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about it? That's the question.
I've been asked not to discuss it for varying reasons by both ET and high-level security people.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, look, you're getting ready to run into 3 hours if you're careful. Did you notice that?
No, I don't think it's not that long, is it? We can. I think it is about time to wrap it up, though.
I'm not saying that there's a problem there, but it could become a problem. Besides,
yeah, we won't let it become a problem, and we'll just wrap it up for today. We've talked about a lot of different things and interesting things, and we'll just wrap it up until next week.
Here's the deal. Everybody needs to go out there and have fun. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's somebody you don't even know. Have fun anyway. You just go and enjoy. The ideology of our existence is for that purpose primarily. So, remember that. You see somebody that's, funny looking, talk to them anyway. Why? Well, they're not able to notice that. I mean, there was a song once written and the person said, hey, dude, you look funny. And the guy says back to the guy, this is the singer, he says back to the businessman, he says, hey, can't you see you look funny to me, but I'm trying to be polite.
Well, if everybody would go have some joy, it would raise the vibration of the planet, and that would really be a good thing.
Yep.
So make somebody smile today or do some little act of kindness. And
it's about to begin, guys. Enjoy yourself.
Yes. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Now let me